talking about healthcare. And I'll give you a recent overview of my wife's experiences using the Cypriot healthcare system. You're watching Cyprus Unfiltered, where I tell you real life stories about real life here in Cyprus. Now, just before I get into the content, I just want to say I am a little bit tired at the moment just because I got back from the UK today. So if you saw my video last week, you saw I was in the UK. I've literally left my hotel about 4 a.m. this morning. I visited some friends on the way back, having landed here about 4 o'clock this afternoon. Got home around 6. And so I'm running on about 4 hours of airplane sleep and caffeine. So you might have to bear with me tonight if I'm slurring more than normal. But anyway, one thing I did just want to say, and the reason why I'm actually telling you why I've come back from Cyprus, is because a couple of weeks ago I did a video on the social cost of moving abroad. And I thought I'd just report this kind of live because even though we've been back and forth to the UK several times since moving out here, for some reason, this trip, the social cost has hit me hard. And, I got to see a lot of friends while I was there in the UK. As always, you can't see everybody. You never get to see everybody. You always have to kind of, see people, different trips and everything else. But yeah, it just hit me hard this time. So I come away and actually tonight, having got back home in Cyprus, although the sun was out and everything else, it's left me feeling a bit flat. So yeah, just to say 2.5 years in, it still doesn't get easy. You're always saying goodbye to people. But like I say, the sun is out. And unfortunately for Simon and Izzat, if you guys are watching this, I think you guys have been here for the last 2-3 weeks or so, and it's rained pretty much all the time you're here. Well, I've landed today. It's lovely. It's like 18 degrees. The sun's out. It's been really nice. So apologies. I think you've gone home now, back to the UK, where it's still raining because it's been raining for the entire week I was there pretty much. You've got floods everywhere and everything. So anyway, look, I'm not talking about that. We're talking about healthcare tonight. And that's what hopefully you guys are interested in listening to. But I'm going to give it you from my wife's perspective this time. So before Christmas, I gave you an update on my perspective and some of the stuff that I had done. But I'm going to talk you through my wife's experience in January because it's all very recent and figured it's going to be as useful to hear it from her perspective as it is from my own perspective. So back in January, around about 6th of January, my wife... Well, it's actually the 5th of January, my wife turned 40. And we went away to Krakow in Poland for I'm just making sure, okay, thanks very much. We've got a hello coming through. Thanks very much. How do I pronounce that? I'm going to call you Ken, if that's okay. Thanks very much, Ken. Hello and good evening. So yeah, in January, we went away to Krakow and she started to have a bad back. And this was like 6 to the 9th. We were away for the 3 days and we were sleeping on the bed. The bed wasn't particularly comfortable. And so she just assumed it was a bad bed. You go in these hotels and sometimes the beds aren't great. A week later or so, around about the 14th of January, she's doing some puzzles because she got a load of jigsaws and things for her birthday. She likes doing jigsaws. And so she's bent over the table doing jigsaws like an absolute marathon, like her life depends on it, spending hours bent over the table. And then the back pain gets worse. And so she's now, at this point, not really able to stand properly and standing, and basically sitting is more painful than standing. Standing still hurts. And so what does she do? Well, on the 25th of January, she decided to go and do a 5-kilometer walk. She did that with friends. She was on a long car journey for like a couple of hours. And then what do you think happened? Pain gets worse. So now she's in a situation where, okay, it's stopped being annoying and it's now becoming quite limiting. So on the 22nd of January, bearing in mind we're on the 8th of Feb now. So on the 22nd of January, she makes an appointment with the GP, although she doesn't make an appointment. So she sends an SMS message to the GP. So you may recall that I said this before. When you've got your doctor's number, you don't always have to go and make an appointment. You don't always have to go and see the GP. You can just text him. And essentially what she'd originally wanted to reach out to the GP for is because she turned 40 and she wanted to do all the normal health checkups that you do when you turn 40. And at the time she mentioned as well that she's got this back pain and it was getting worse. And so what happens is the GP straight away, pretty much within a couple of hours of the message being sent, she sends her straight away to an orthopaedic doctor next door. And so on the same day, she then goes in. So she goes in, so send a message to GP, goes into the GP, and then has an orthopedic assessment, literally on the same day. There's an X-ray then ordered immediately. And it's kind of, the doctor gets on the phone, she speaks in Greek, gets on the phone. Okay, no problem. Can you go for an X-ray? When works for you? Mornings works for me. Cool, can you go now? Great. So she goes in, has the X-ray done. The X-ray gets picked up within several minutes, and then goes back to another room in the same hospital, and it gets reviewed on the spot. So this is all within like sending a message, and it's all getting done. I'm going to show you this on a calendar as well, because I'm going to show you some more dates. But just for those of you listening in, for the orthopedic assessment, getting the x-ray done on the same day, in the comments, how much do you think that cost? Bear in mind, there was no referral. There was no waiting. It was just, can you go now? Yes, I can. Cool, go now. In the chat, how much do you think that cost? And evening to those of you joining as well. Any ideas as to how much that cost? I'll give it a second or so for the comments to come through. You're all stunned silence. Well, I'll just tell you then. It costs 10 euros. So 10 euros for an assessment to be done on the same day, for an x-ray to be done on the same day, gets reviewed the same day within minutes, costs 10 euros with no prior appointment. So then what happens? Well, on the 3rd of Feb at this point, so she's then prescribed a list of anti-inflammatory medication. Pain improves slightly, but it's not resolved. So what then happens? So on the 3rd of Feb still, it's better, but it's not fixed. She has a follow-up appointment with the orthopedic doctor. At that point, they recommend that she has an MRI scan. So this is 3rd of Feb now. So bear in mind, like she's only got in like a week or so earlier, 22nd of Jan, or a couple of weeks earlier. So they recommend doing an MRI scan. So the doctor phones the MRI center directly while she's there. Are you available now? I don't know why I'm saying that. She's wife is sat in front of her. Are you available now? She's on the phone to the MRI center. Yes, I'm available because right here in front of you. So there's a slot available immediately. So she goes down on the same day, gets the MRI done on the same day. So now there's another cost. How much do you think a same-day MRI scan cost? Any takers? We've got £500. We've got £50. This was probably from the other one. So same-day MRI scan. I don't know what it would cost in the UK. I don't know how much it costs to get an MRI scan done in the UK. But how much do we think an MRI scan cost? Same day. No referrals other than just being there in front of the doctor. Well, I'm going to tell you, it was 10 euros. So far, she spent 20 euros to get all of this done. Okay. So then, 5th of Feb comes around. 5th of Feb comes around. She gets an orthopedic review of the MRI scan. The findings are then explained on the spot. Talked about surgery as a worst case scenario. Physiotherapy recommended, and physio is then booked directly by the doctor. So what the scan showed is that she's got a slip disc, and she has a slip disc in the back. They've gone through all of this, explained it all on the spot, and then rather than just sending you off into the ether and probably waiting months in the UK for an MRI scan, no, they did all of that on the spot, and then they got the physio recommended. They asked my wife if she knew anybody that could do physio, and she says no, so they recommended somebody, and they said, bear with us, we'll make a call. Makes a call in Greek, gets the physio appointment booked. So now it was kind of same day or next day. It was a case of, when do you want to go? And so she ended up going the next day, I think it was instead, because I think it was like fitted in with the school run and everything else. And so on the 6th of Feb, that's when she has her first physio session. Again, it's a bit of a theme here. How much do you think it cost? 10 euros. Now, in between all of this, she was having blood tests done and everything else. And the blood tests, 10 euros. It's sort of like there's this running theme of things costing 10 euros. So you'll pay a small amount on Gessi because we're doing this through Gessi. You'll pay a small amount. But the thing is, when you're paying it, you're not paying the full amount, you're paying a small amount, but it gets capped at 300 euros. So if you've spent 300 euros of medical bills in the year, it gets capped and then you don't pay any more. So going through Gessi is a very, very effective way of doing it. But as you can see and as you can hear, it's really fast. It's really fast compared to the UK. And I want to actually just put this now into a timeline, because if I just do, where we gone? That one. No, that one. Yes, that one there. I'm going to bring us across. So my wife drew this up for us actually before I came onto this call because I wanted to visualize it. So as per the story, wife's birthday was on the 5th of January. Went away to Krakow, first started getting back pain, blamed it on the bed in the Airbnb, come home, and on Saturday, the 10th of Jan, we're back in Cyprus, got back pain. Following 14th, she's then doing jigsaws. That's when her back really starts to hurt. Comes round to 21st of January. Oh, that's my birthday. Okay, she put my birthday in. I was 43 on the 21st of January. There we go. That wasn't meant to be part of the story tonight, but now it is. So on the 22nd of January, she sends the SMS to the GP. So you see here now, so this is the first real contact we've got with the GP. Send an SMS, asking for a visit, they do blood tests, do everything else. And this is when she then gets the referral to go to this on the 26th. But in the meantime, she's gone and decided to do this 5-kilometer walk over in Kikos Monastery. And she does that, comes back, and then back's ruined. Well done, wifey. Gets to the GP visit. This is then without the appointment, goes and has the x-ray, goes and has everything else done. Then gets tablets. And then literally a week later, going into the orthopaedic surgeon for the second visit, no improvement, and then they order an MRI scan on the spot. By the 5th, she's getting the results of the MRI scan, and then the doctor books the physio. The following day, because it fitted in with the school run, she's got the first physio session booked. So timeline is less than 2 weeks, from back pain to full diagnosis and to treatment. Just over 2 weeks. What's that? 15 days. So hopefully you can see the healthcare in Cyprus is far superior to what you're probably used to in the UK. It's far superior to what I was used to in the UK. I mean, we've had other things done, like there's things being done around this that don't necessarily make it into videos yet, and maybe they will in a future date. But people that have had the similar sorts of treatments done in the UK, they get quoted months. They get quoted months for the same thing. And it's just madness, So you're coming out to an island where the healthcare system, from what I'm hearing just today, actually, is like they've taken the best of what the NHS has, the best of what the German healthcare system has, merged it into one and made Gessi. And so far, it's bloody brilliant. Like, I know not everybody can get Gessi, but even if you're paying private, you're going to get seen way faster here. It's going to be cheaper here. We've got friends, and we talked about dentists in one of the other videos, who, for the cost of their dental treatment in the UK, it was going to be cheaper for them to have flown here. They could have stayed with us because they're friends, so stay here for free, had the treatment done, had a long weekend out of it as well, and gone home, and it would have been cheaper than what they'd have paid for just the dental care in the UK. Now, if you need MRI scans or anything like that, you could literally come here as a tourist, and you could literally do it while you're on holiday. If you're here for a couple of weeks, you could probably get it all done in a couple of weeks. You look at the timescales of that, you could get things done really fast. Now, that's just our experience. Other people have got other experiences. We're based in Paphos. I think depending on where you are, if you're going to Limassol, it might be a little bit slower. I've heard stories of it being slower in Limassol. But fundamentally, our experience in Paphos is that the healthcare has been amazing. Like I won't go on about mine tonight because I'm going to give an update on my face and everything else in a later video. But if we were doing this in the UK, we would probably still be waiting for referrals for the first scans. MRI scans, I'm told, is like a 9-month waiting list by some people. I don't know how accurate that is. It's secondhand information. But if that's true, when I was getting mine done, I had 2 MRI scans done, and you could just go and get them booked really quickly. My wife, usually you're hearing tonight, got it done pretty much on the spot. I'm going to be calling, and in fact, I'm going to do this in a couple of weeks' time because I've got to go for another MRI scan now because it'll be 3 months after this is done. And I'm going to break my own rule a little bit. I'm going to record the video, but then I'm going to play you the video live on a Sunday night, and I'm going to see. I'm just going to test it. I'm going to literally call up, and I'm going to see if I can get an appointment. And I'm going to put it on speakerphone, and you can watch, and you can see how I get an appointment. And if I can get an appointment, that's either going to crash and burn live on air. So anyway. That's it. That's the Cypriot healthcare system. So that's pretty much all I wanted to go through tonight. I just wanted to talk to you about my wife's experiences. She's had this back pain the last couple of weeks. Thought it might be useful for you to hear from another perspective. And my wife is going to jump onto the Q&A. I think she's actually going to be in the chat. So she's going to jump onto the Q&A if anybody wants to ask her any specific questions. Just before we go on to the questions, though, what I will just say is if you're finding any of this useful, then please give it a like and share. And if you're not subscribed already, then if you could subscribe, that would really help me out as well. When I moved to Cyprus a couple of years ago, there was nobody showing what life was really like in Cyprus. Nobody was showing this sort of content. So I'm trying to document it now for the rest of us. And like I say, if you can share this with people that might find it useful, people that are thinking about maybe moving out here, maybe they can get some benefit from it as well, then like I say, I'd really appreciate it. And hopefully you're enjoying the content so far. So what I want to do now is I'm going to move over to the questions. I'm going to have a look and see what we have in the chat, because the chat's going through. Okay, so we've got some guesses around the prices. We've got some Michael Cummings. Evening, Michael. Simon, thanks for the weather update. Yeah, sorry, Simon. It is what it is, but it's lovely. I'm reading upwards. So I'm planning to move to Cyprus from Poland next month for a tech job. What's your advice? Okay, right. So I guess the question is, Ken, I'm going to call you Ken if that's okay. I'm just taking the first part of your extremely long username. My advice is: have you already got the job? That's not advice. So that's rubbish. My question is: have you already got a job? Have you already got the job? Is somebody sponsoring you? I know you don't need to be sponsored from Poland. If you've already got Polish citizenship, you can just come here because you've got free movement of travel and free movement of work. So I would ask that what is it that you're looking to do? Have you already got something lined up, or are you looking for something when you arrive? So maybe you can give us a bit more context on that, or I might be able to give you a bit more advice. In the meantime, let me just go down the chat. So what else have we got? Joanna, yeah, hi, it's Mark's wife. If you've got any questions, I'm happy to answer. So yeah, my wife is online. If you've got any specific questions, she's happy to answer. I was trying to coax her to come on camera tonight, but she wasn't feeling it. So she'll answer in the chat. From Lee Clark, I waited 9 months and was forced to have 10 sessions of physio. And after moaning, they referred me for an MRI, etc. And I had 2 ruptured discs. Wow. And a fractured spine. Bloody hell. Back surgery was successful though. Wow. Yeah. I mean, there you go. The timings in the so look, the NHS is good for what it is. You know, if people are watching this in America and people that aren't watching this in America, when you look at the state of the healthcare system in the US, you look at the cost of everything in the US. I think like medical bills are the number one reason for bankruptcy in the US. You know, the cost of medicine is ridiculous out there. So the NHS, for all of its faults, is actually bloody good because people out in the US would almost kill for free healthcare. I know it's not totally free because you have to pay for it in your wages and your salary and everything else. But for the most part, it's free. A lot of the treatment, like to get that sort of treatment, would probably cost quite a lot of money. So the fact that you're actually getting it done and the treatment was successful, I mean, that's great. It's just that the waiting lists are so bloody long. You know, like you say, if you had to have 10 sessions of physio and then you had to moan, like the time scales, the time frames is just too long. So I get it. It's frustrating. Lee Clark, ended my breakdancing days though. Oh, shame. Okay, sorry about that. That is unfortunate. And Yella Parada, Chesh Rodzinko. Don't know what that means. I know it means hi. That's my mother-in-law again. But anyway, I don't know what Rodzinko means. If anybody speaks Polish, put it in the chat. My wife will assess whether you're correct or not. We've got Michael Cummings. You'd still be waiting for the first doctor appointment, let alone a referral. I know. Tell me about it. Absolutely. And hi, Joanna. I hope the back is starting to improve. Cool. Thanks, Michael. I'm sure she appreciates your support. So look, I mean, feel free to ask any questions. You can either ask questions to my wife about treatment, about what it's like, the blood tests, or anything like that. Whatever you want to know, she'll answer them. And if you've got any questions about anything else, feel free to ask, and I'll answer those too. Railway History UK, what do you think the €10 payment would be for those of us that would be on non-GESI? Yeah, good question, actually. So it will be more expensive, and I'm going to... Right. I had some blood tests done, and they were trying to get me to go private because they said, no, they're not showing on the system, but if you still want to get it done there and then, you can just get them done there and then. Now, those particular blood tests, I think there was like one, they were going to cost me like €1 each. And I think I had 12 different tests that they needed to do. So that was going to cost me €12 through GESI. And they quoted me, I think it was €70 on the day to just get it done. And I was like, well, hang on a minute. No, my doctor can prescribe it, which she did. And I just went back the next day and paid €12 instead of 70. So from a blood test perspective, it's a bit more expensive. From an MRI perspective, I don't want to make this up, but I have got a figure of around €300 in my head because one of my friends who isn't in GESI had to have something done. I'm sure it was an MRI scan he had done. And it was around about €280 to €300, something like that. So it's not cheap, but if you need it fast, pay for speed. That's exactly what I did with my face. When they talked about, when they said that it's probably not cancer, all I heard was cancer. And I was like, well, going to get this done fast then. So I just paid for speed and I just paid somebody else to get it done. But you could have got it all done through GESI and it might have just taken a little bit longer. But, as you can see, GESI is not that slow. But in terms of costings, You will always pay something if you're in Gessi, capped up to €300. Like I say, if you're not in Gessi, it's still probably going to be cheaper than the UK is what I would say. I mean, like I say, my friend, it was about 280 to €300 for this MRI scan. And, I've seen the dental care prices, and that isn't through Gessi anyway. So whenever you go and pay for dental care, dental treatment, I mean, that was a fraction of the cost of the UK as well. If you watch my video on healthcare and breaking down some of the costs with the treatments that we had, and I think it was for like a couple of fillings and some cleans and an X-ray was about €160, whereas the same thing in the UK would have been around about the €800 mark, or £800 mark, from what I remember from talking to a friend. So, or I say a friend, a dentist in the UK is what he said he would have charged for the same work that we had done here for about €160. So it's definitely cheaper. It will be more if you're not in Gessi for sure. But like I say, it's going to be cheaper than the UK, and it's going to be a hell of a lot faster as well. Hopefully that answers the question best I can anyway. I can't give you real numbers because I am in Gessi. So if I can get some real numbers for you of any work that's been done, maybe I can present them back one evening. So John, thanks, Michael. Lots of exercises, and it was recommended swimming. That needs to wait till July, as I'm not getting in less than 28 degrees. Yeah, indeed. Not doing the 17 degrees on Boxing Day. From Simon, Mark, US healthcare insurance is usually paid by your employer. Yes, prescriptions and deductibles are pricey, but the standard of treatment in the US makes the NHS look like the dark ages. Yeah, for sure. You're not wrong. The thing is, so I've got some friends out in the US, and from what I understand of the US healthcare, insurance will cover a lot of things, but insurance can also run out. And the other thing is that even with insurance, so as an example, and this isn't MRI scans here, this is something else, but I was talking to a friend a while back, and they were having to sort some kind of like electric chairs out for their elderly family, let's say. I'm going to keep the details rather sparse. So for an elderly family member, they needed to get this chair that was kind of like a lift and assist, and it helped get them out of the chair. And literally with insurance, it was more expensive than you could just buy online yourself without insurance. So the insurance companies are ripping the governments off or whatever. I mean, it just feels like one big scam. However, if you've got the money, yeah, you'll probably live longer in the US than you'll live in the UK because they've got all the best tech, they've got all the best science, they've got all the best treatments, but it costs you money, costs you a lot of money. Michael Cummings, am I right to assume if we had private medical cover, we would have similar costs, excluding the PMI cost? Well, so what insurance does, yes. I mean, with insurance, you can definitely get things covered. So I could have had this covered through insurance, but I don't have private medical care. I had the basic medical cover that I needed when I was first coming in for immigration. You pay about €160 for the year to get this basic medical cover until you get your pink or yellow slip. And then I know a lot of people, they'll be paying, could be €100 a month for decent cover. So about €1,200 a year. I think I covered the family. And you can absolutely get medical insurance, and that will cover a lot of the cost. Absolutely, is what it's there for. But I don't know, like any insurance company, if you keep claiming, like the older you get, probably the more ill you get, probably the more claims you need to make. I don't know at what point it runs out. The other thing is if you've got pre-existing medical conditions, I know in the UK, any kind of life insurance, things like that, they won't cover you for pre-existing medical conditions. So you just need to be careful of that. If you are going to take out an insurance policy, make sure it's covering you for anything you've already got and not just new stuff. Lee Clark. So, is it easy to get the same prescriptions you're on in the UK in Cyprus, e.g. HRT? And do you know how many weeks worth they can prescribe in one go? Or can you get these delivered regularly? Okay, it's a really good question. And I'm not sure I can answer it fully, but I can just tell you what I know and what I've done with my experiences. So if you come over as a tourist, let's say, I've been mistaken for a tourist on several occasions. And when I've gone into the chemist, this was before I was signed up for Gessi, I just needed to get some creams and stuff like that. And I had to get something, and it got steroids in it. This isn't for HRT, by the way. I'm not a gym buff. I wasn't doing any of that. It was a steroid cream. It was a special type of cream that I was told I needed to get. So I went to get this steroid cream, and the chemist in Cyprus, in Paphos, in Tala actually, asked me, do I have a prescription? And I said, no. And they said, okay, no problem. Actually, it wasn't the Tyler one, it was a different one. But anyway, they asked me if I had a prescription. And I said, no, I don't. And they were like, okay, well, I can give you this cream. It's prescription. Just don't tell anybody I've given it to you. And she gave me the cream. So she just assumed, I guess, that I was here on holiday or something, needed this cream. And she was just like, okay, cool, I'll give it to you. Now, when it comes to getting prescriptions, I've got some meds. I've had to get meds for this and everything else. And honestly, it's a doddle. Like in some instances, if I've run out of anything, again, it came to, I text the doctor and they will send me a screenshot back that I can then just show to the chemist. And then they sort it out because that's all on the Gessi system. So prescriptions and that kind of thing has been really easy for us. If you've got existing conditions in the UK, you're going to have your NHS medical record. What I don't know, and it's probably worth checking out, and I mentioned this to a couple of people now already, is if you have your UK medical history, I'm wondering if they can send it over to your doctor when you get registered in Cyprus. Can they send an electronic version of your medical history over to your doctor so they know exactly what you've been taking and everything else? And it just gives you that continuity between NHS health history or your health records and then your new Cypriot health records, because otherwise there's no link between them. You're kind of starting again when you come out here. There's no medical history. If they can't do that, because I didn't bother, by the way, just being clear on this. So for some reason, when I turned 42, that's when it all started going wrong for me. And I started having this happen and a few things. I need blood tests and everything else. But when we moved out here when I was 40, I hadn't really had anything going on in my life at that point. I was very fortunate. My health was very good. And for 2 years living out here, my health has been very good. So I didn't have to bring anything from the NHS. There was nothing I wanted to carry over, so I never did this. But it might be that if you can't get them to electronically send it to your new doctor here, what you should be able to do is you should be able to ask the NHS for an export of all of your medical history anyway. They should be able to give you all of that, whether it's a paper file or whether it's an actual like a digital copy that they can send to you in some kind of secured portal. They should be able to give you a copy of your medical history, in which case you could always bring it over here, scan it in, whatever you needed to do to get it in front of the doctor. So that's probably what I would do. If you're looking to have continuity, I would do that. In terms of the prescriptions, I can't see there being a problem because basically the doctors out here, they seem to be very happy to get you treated. And if they think a tablet or something is going to work, then they'll just carry on. If you tell them that you've been on HRT replacement therapy, hormone replacement therapy in the UK, and then you're looking to do the same thing out here, they'll probably ask you some questions. You can tell them what you've been doing, and they'll probably just prescribe it. Honestly, it's not like the UK in that there's not lots of things to. They will follow rules, but it just seems like people have less red tape out here. And this will say that it's more laid back. People are less concerned. Like I say, my wife's texting the doctor will reply. I was texting, can't even speak, the neurologist when I was having this looked at. I text him accidentally while he was on holiday because I thought he was back from holiday. And he said, when you get your results, text me. So I did. And then he apologized for not replying sooner because he was on holiday. I was like, well, you shouldn't have replied at all. You go back to your holiday. Well, I'll speak to you in a week or whatever it is when you're back. So people are just a lot more laid back out here. People are just more easygoing and go with it. And as a result, the service is just better. That's a kind of really long-winded answer. I'm not even sure I've answered your question, but hopefully that gives you some information back anyway. Well, questions coming through thick and fast now. Let's have a look where we got to. So that was, where are we? Oh, blimey. Hang on a minute. Where are we going? Where are we? Lost them. There we go. Right. Okay, Simon. Our flight to Cyprus in January was jammed. Our flight home had 39 passengers. Yeah, is everyone leaving the UK? Quite possibly. So I had a similar experience. I literally flew out to the UK a week ago, and I booked the extra legroom seats because for those of you that met me, you'll know I'm quite tall, 6'4". For those of you that haven't met me, well, now you know I'm 6'4". And I was literally in the extra legroom seats a week ago, and there was nobody to my left and there was nobody to my right. It was literally just me, and half of the other seats were also empty. Flying back today, however, it was packed. Like every seat was packed. So I couldn't even get extra legroom seats. And I tried to book them a week and a bit in advance, and they were already all gone. Everything had all gone. So yeah, maybe everyone's just leaving the UK, or maybe it's just because it's a miserable time of year and they're all going on holiday. I don't know, but okay. Wow, I keep losing my spot. There are loads of questions tonight. Where are we now? Here we go. Lee Clark. Mark, have you ever looked into getting your eyes laser corrected? And is it cheaper than the UK and more important, just as safe? Oh, that's a great question, Lee. So, have I looked into it? Yes. Have I looked into it recently? No. I don't know. This might be my own preconceptions here. I kind of figured at 43 that if I get it done now, it's probably too late. And maybe I'll have to have it done in a few more years or whatever. Or maybe I'll still end up wearing glasses. I don't know. So I've kind of gone past the point of maybe I just won't bother with it. Maybe that's totally wrong. But as it stands, I haven't been looking into it. The costs and everything else. So from what I understand of the UK, there's two different types. You can get LASIK and LASIK or something like that. And one of them is more invasive than the other. One was sort of like £400 or £800 per eye, and the other one's more expensive to the tune of about $2,000 or $4,000 for the whole lot. What I would say is, I don't know the answer to your question in terms of the cost out here. However, based on what I'm seeing with regards to the quality of the medical treatment and how we've been looked after, I wouldn't have a concern doing it here. I wouldn't be concerned at all. So the neurosurgeon who did this work on my face, no, he wasn't a neurosurgeon. He was a maxillofacial specialist. He came back to Cyprus 2 years ago, and he'd spent 20 plus years in the US doing facelifts for people, because in the US that seems to be the thing. So, he was trained out in the US. He was trained by the US institutes, and then eventually came back here, and he just carried on in Cyprus now. So the doctors are highly qualified. Whether that translates to the eyes, I don't know. But what I would say is, like anywhere, just have a look at the reviews, because I can't unfortunately give you anything on that. I would personally, even if it was the UK, I would be doing exactly the same. I'd be looking for reviews of people that have done it, and have a look at the 1-star reviews as well as just the 5-star. Have a look at the 1-star and see what the worst case scenario was for the people that had a worst case scenario. But otherwise, I can't really be more specific than that, other than say it's probably going to be cheaper and the quality is probably going to be as good. But that's not a very good answer. So, sorry. Where are we now? We are. Okay, from Jackie Mazer. Yes, absolutely agree with Simon. My friend was diagnosed with breast cancer, and the so-called gold standard treatment in the UK has been superseded in the US 5 years earlier. Yeah, wouldn't surprise me. Like I say, if you've got money, you'll live longer in the US than you will in the UK for sure. But unfortunately, it's also the thing that bankrupts a lot of people. It's also the thing where insurance will eventually stop paying out. So if you've got the money, yeah, the US is great. But unfortunately, a lot of people don't necessarily have the money that it takes to get the treatment. Michael Cummings, one of our considerations is one of my wife's prescriptions cost about 12 grand per annum in the UK, which is free on the NHS. Likely to have to pay in Cyprus. Huh. Okay, that is interesting. Michael, what I'll say is, it's up to you whether you want to do this or not. But if you want to drop me a message on Instagram, let me know what it is. We might be able to ask a question for you. Don't know. If that is something that is a big sticking point for you, message me on Instagram if you don't mind me knowing what the treatment is. And I'll do some digging. I don't know. Maybe I can come back to you with an actual answer on what that would be. Because if it's 12 grand in the UK, if you're not in Gessi in Cyprus, it's probably going to be a cost. But I guess the question is, how much is it and where is it? Can they actually get it? Like I say, if you want us to have a look into it, I'll have a look into it for you. Simon, what's your experience of opticians in Cyprus? Good question. Honestly, bloody expensive. Not the optician itself. The service of the optician was great. The optician was very qualified, as in they told me things that I was already experiencing, because when I had an eye test done, they then told me, you're going to get to the point now, like you're going to need to take your glasses off for short distance. And so all of the things that was starting to happen to my eyes, they just predicted on the spot. Now, clearly they're experienced and it's probably the same as in the UK, but the point is they were very good. Where I didn't like it was that if you're used to Specsavers in the UK and you get buy one, get one free, or you get, whatever it might be, buy one, get one half price, if you go to like Vision Express or wherever it is, the frames are really expensive out here compared to the UK because they don't really do buy one, get one free. And at least from what I've seen in the optician I went to, maybe I just went to a really expensive one. I went to, Joanna, if you're still watching, can you please just look at my optician? It's like Orleans or something like that. Look at the optician. Just put it in the chat for everybody, please, because it'd be good for people to know. But yeah, the optician I went to, like I said, there's a good optician. It was a chain of opticians, but I just found the frames were very expensive. So these glasses that I've got on now, probably the most expensive pair of glasses I've ever owned, and they're not anything special. I think like these cost me, with the coating and everything else, it was something like €260. Come on, really? So yeah, a lot cheaper in the UK, that's for sure. Eileen, there you go. Thanks very much, Eileen. That was my optician. So yeah, maybe there's cheaper ones, but they reviewed really well. I was impressed with the eye test. That was fine. Like I say, it was just the cost of the frames I wasn't impressed with. So maybe you can get your eye test done here. Something I've contemplated doing is just getting an up-to-date prescription here and then ordering them online back in the UK and just bringing some new glasses over next time I'm over, or just going to Specsavers next time I'm over. Problem is, it can take a week or so. So if you don't get it done there and then, if you're not in the UK for a couple of weeks, it can be a little bit tricky. So yeah, I haven't done it yet, but that's what I would probably do going forward, is go somewhere else. Maybe I'll go to Poland and get it done there. But yeah, probably away from the island if I can. Okay, what else have we got? Cyprus is, so from Jackie Mazer, Cyprus is certainly one of the easiest and most lucrative Mediterranean countries for Brits to relocate to. It really is. The reason why we came here, and you'll have seen this in our moving to Cyprus videos, was partly because of the ease of integration. Everybody speaks English. Cars drive on the same side of the road as the UK. The wall sockets are 3-pin plugs. The schools follow the UK curriculum. It's easy. It's like you can pick your life up in the UK, pivot 90 degrees, plonk it down in Cyprus and carry on. Obviously, there are differences, there's cultural differences and everything else, but from a lifestyle point of view, from a just a general day-to-day living point of view, it's really easy to integrate. Very few places don't speak English. Very few people don't speak English. Even the older generation here, because it's an ex-English or British colony, they all speak English. And English is a second language on the island. So it's really easy to integrate. And this is why we chose here over places like Portugal or other places that could have been on the list. Were on the list. It's one of the reasons why I didn't go to Poland, because I don't speak Polish. So yeah, I agree completely. From Sikoba, hi Stephen. Hi Mark. Who did you use for your initial basic PMI? Okay, don't remember. I don't remember, but I do know. So the gentleman I put you in touch with, who's helping with immigration accounts, he sorted it for us, and he can sort it for you as well, I'm sure. And I think you guys are talking. I think I put you guys in touch. So yeah, he'd be able to sort that for you anyway, because he helped set us up with the doctor, because you need a GP. So he set us up with the doctor, and if you're going through him anyway, you'll probably end up with the same doctor that we've got. And yeah, they sorted the initial insurance out. And like I said, it was about €160, something like that. I'm going to do a video, and I'm still kind of picking through the research on this, but I keep getting tied up and busy. So I haven't wanted to pull together a half-assed video yet, but I'm going to do a video on immigration once I've finished picking through all of the information and details and stuff that we went through. And I'm just going to try and put as much on the screen as possible, and I'll share the screen. I'll put it all on for you to see. But yeah, what I would say is have a chat with the gentleman I've already put you in touch with, because he should be able to help you get that sorted. Where are we now? Michael Cummings, really appreciate that, Mark. I'm not on Instagram, but we'll get my wife Joanna to message you. Yeah, cool. Yeah, no problem at all. Yeah, do that. If, like I say, as long as you guys are comfortable with it, then that's fine. If I can help you out, I'll help you out. Jackie Mazer, Michael Cummings. I would also think you might be able to get the prescription cheaper in Turkish side of Cyprus. Ooh, that's contentious. You can get everything cheaper on the Turkish side of Cyprus. You probably could get it cheaper there. Whenever we are going over, I always fill my car up there, because it's about 80p a litre for petrol or diesel, rather than like the €1.30 it is over here at the minute. So everything's cheaper in the north. Would you get prescriptions? Maybe. I've never used a Turkish chemist or pharmacist over there. There will potentially be a language barrier. Potentially. I mean, they'll speak English as well. I don't know. You could try it. You could absolutely try it. I just don't know. I'm gonna do a video on the north actually at some point. I will do a video on the north, not because it's good or bad. Just I'm gonna give you my real take on it, my real experiences on it, and my own opinions. You know, it's my opinion, and had a chat with the locals and got their opinions as well, which is quite interesting. So I will do a video on the north and south at some point. But yeah, you might be able to get it cheaper. But the thing is, think logistics on this one. So if you have to keep going into the north, and let's say you're living in Paphos, to get to the north, the quickest way is probably going to be about a 2-hour drive because you're either going to go through Nicosia or Nicosia, and could you probably go Larnaca way. If you go the Larnaca way, you're going to have to cross into near like Famagusta, that side. Basically, you're looking at 2 hours, and a return trip's going to be 4 hours plus any time you spend in the country. To get there, you're going to have to pay insurance on the car. So you'll have to pay insurance as you cross the border, which, all right, it's only €25 or something like that, but that only lasts you a month. You can pay it for the year if you're going to be doing a yearly thing, but then you've got to pay car insurance for the north and then the south. And you've got your petrol to get there and back, and then you've got the time to do it as well. It might be cheaper. Maybe it's worth it. Maybe it's something that you can check out. I couldn't really say either way. I wouldn't want to have to come to the island and then rely on the things in the north. I would, if I'm coming to the south, I'd rather use the facilities in the south. And, you know, the north is a convenience at times. If I'm going out, like I say, I'll fill the car up, you know, maybe you'll buy some things, but, you know, generally, like I know a lot of the locals will go shopping. If you live near the border, they'll go shopping in the north because it's cheaper, you know, go and buy clothes or whatever. And then they'll just bring it back, smuggle it through because you're not supposed to bring anything back, but the locals do. You know, they'll smuggle stuff around the boots and stuff like that, but you can get your boots searched and stuff. So yeah, just something to bear in mind. If you are going to do that, you're going to be crossing into the north. You're going to be going through border patrols and all of that. I mean, yeah, it's easy enough, but that's today. You never know how that's going to change. So I wouldn't come to the south. My opinion, I wouldn't come to the south relying on treatment from the north. Is what I'm saying. Even if you can get it cheaper. What else we got? From Jackie Mazer, friends of ours live in Mara, and they've both got their teeth done on the Turkish side, as it was much cheaper too. Yeah, probably is. I mean, you know, there's the saying of turkey teeth, and you know, I'm sure it is cheaper. You could either go to the north, go to the mainland, and it probably will be cheaper. And you know, that's fine. It's a one-off trip, right? You can go there, get it done. All I'm saying is that if you had to keep going back, that's when it's probably going to be a bit more inconvenient. You can go there as a one-off, and that's fine. But I just think, for me personally, if it was an ongoing thing, I wouldn't want to keep having to go to the north. Lee Clark, what's the best hospital in Paphos? Ooh, good question. That is a good question. Okay, I don't know, and I don't want to pretend I do. What I do know is that the Paphos General Hospital quite often gets slated. A lot of people don't like that. One of my friend's children ended up going into Paphos General Hospital, and Joanna, keep me honest here if you can put in the comments, but there was, from what I remember them saying, there was like lots of cobwebs up in the corners of the wards and things like that in Paphos General Hospital. I also recall when we had torrential rain a year ago in November, I think it was, and Paphos flooded, and you can probably find it on YouTube. Paphos actually flooded. And from what I remember, the roof caved in for that hospital as well. So maybe it's had a refurb since then. Maybe they washed the cobwebs away. I don't know. But from what I hear, Paphos General Hospital isn't great. A lot of people talk about the ISIS hospital being private. I went there for my work and I wasn't that impressed. If you watch my video titled something along the lines of my first Cypriot operation, I tell you what it was like to actually have an operation done in that hospital. That was a private hospital, and I wasn't impressed. I wasn't impressed at all. Let me just pull up, though. I'm going to go to maps a second. Because, in fact, let's just make this more interactive. Because there is one that I seem to remember. which I hear people saying good things about. I can't remember the name of it. Where are we? Yeah, look, there you go. Paphos General Hospital, 2.5 stars. ISIS gets 3.8. This one, interestingly, only gets 3.5. So I've heard people say good things about this one. This is Evangelismos. I've had some stuff done in the Blue Cross Medical Centre, and that was, I mean, that was quite funny. So I was getting some blood tests done in this place, and I was kind of like doing the okey cokey. I turned up, didn't know I had to wait for the room, then I had to go down to another room, and wow, yeah, well, blimey, let me just think. So, okay, well, I'll tell you a story. We're going to get a little bit personal now. I'm going to tell you a story about Blue Cross. So I was having a load of checks done last year, back end of last year, and it was partially related to this, and there was a whole bunch of things, and I had a load of checks done, and one of the things that they were testing was like testosterone levels and stuff like that. So I had to go to this Blue Cross to get blood test done to test testosterone, and they wanted to test me for that and stuff like that. So I went in, and I had my appointment. I went there 9 o'clock, I think it was, because that's when my appointment was. And I went in, and they were like, you don't have anything on the system. Like, oh, I'm pretty sure I did. And they were running around, and I showed them the text message that I got, and they were like, oh, okay, no, you need to go and see. There was somebody else down the corridor. I can't remember exactly who it was, but basically it was another specialist down the corridor. And I went down there, and it was, what was it? It was, I can't remember the type of doctor, but basically it was for people that had or have like sexual dysfunction, if that makes sense, erectile dysfunction. And because I'd gone in for these testosterone tests, for some reason I had to go and see this guy first. And so I'm sat in front of him, and there's a guy there, and there's a nurse to the next to the right of him. And he asked me what I'm here for, and I says, I'm here because I've been told by the doctor I've got to get these testosterone tests, and I've got to get there's a whole bunch of blood tests I had to get done, but this was just part of it, and I had to sit in front of this guy. And he goes, oh, okay, in that case, we'll do an examination. Oh, what do you mean? And he looks over to his left, and there's a bed, and he goes, come on, I'll check you out, we'll do an examination. And I was like, no, I'm just here for blood tests. Well, I don't need an examination. What do I need an examination for? And so he goes, oh, all right then. Well then, well, he doesn't type. He scribbles down a bit of paper, blood test, whatever, gives me a bit of paper. And then I just go back to the room that I tried to go in the first place. But it's the most random experience ever. Anyway, I found it quite funny. I walked out a big beaming smile on my face. My wife was there with me. And I was like, yeah, you won't believe what's just happened. I'm like, no, I've got to go. Just get blood tests. That's all I needed to do. Just take some blood. That was it. That's all they did. That's all they needed to do. And everything came back clear anyway. So it's all good. But yeah, that was in this one here, the Blue Cross Medical Centre, that one was. So I've had a bit of experience in that. ISIS, that's where I had my operation done. Not a big fan of that one, like I say. Ellipsis Medical Centre. Never been there, but it gets 4.7. So what I would say is if you're looking at getting treatment done, I mean, looking at this and based on my experiences personally, I would agree with the lower end. Like I say, you've got ISIS there. That's the emergency medical centre, which would be different to the private hospital. But yeah, I mean, I'm just kind of waffling on. I don't know if that's been helpful or not. But anyway, that's kind of my view on the hospitals. I don't know if that's helpful, but that's what I do anyway. So we kept it interactive, telling you more stories, telling you stuff I probably shouldn't tell you anyway. Right, what else have we got? We've got... Wow, let me go. Where go? Johnny, yeah, there was a cockroach on his bed. Okay, that was okay. So that's okay. Yeah, that was the general hospital. Then we actually had the conversation about general today with our friends. Yeah, and urologist. That's it. I had to see the urologist. Yeah, thanks. But yeah, so all the urologist had to do was just sign off that I needed a blood test or had a blood test. I don't know. It was very strange. Anyway, that's what happened. Okay, there is no more questions in the chat. So what time are we on? We're on 10 to 10 my time. So I'm going to give people a little bit more time if they've got any other questions. So just while we're waiting for questions to come through, I will just say, look, if you are finding this useful, if you're finding it remotely entertaining and you think somebody else might benefit, then please just give it a like and a share. And if you're not already subscribed, then please subscribe too. It would really help me out. What I would say is that, look, when I moved to Cyprus, there was nobody showing this sort of content. There was nobody talking through this stuff. And so I'm trying to document it now for the rest of us. So if you're finding it useful, like I say, share it with the people that might benefit from it. And that'd be all I'm asking. So thank you very much for all of that. Have we got anything else coming through in the chat? Let's just go back to the chat one last time. We've got Michael Cummings. What's your view of Konya as a location to live? I really like it. We nearly looked at moving to Konya. In fact, let's go back to the maps. Let's go back over here. So for those of you that don't know, Konya is this area just here. So to put it in perspective, for those of you that have been to Paphos on holiday, you've got the waterfront just here. You've got, if I just zoom in slightly, so you've got the waterfront just here. You've got all the main kind of old town and everything else. And Konya is this bit just here above this place called Gyroskopiou. And then you've got the airport just here. Now, the reason why I liked Konya is because it's very easy to get to the motorway. As you can see, you can literally right on it here. Now, this A6, if you were going to drive to pretty much anywhere that isn't Paphos, you're taking this A6 down to Limassol, you're going to carry on the A6, and then it changes into different roads. But fundamentally, you're taking that road down to either Nicosia, or you're going to take a different road off that A6 down to Larnaca and everything else. So if you're going to the north, you're probably going to go this way through Nicosia. If you're going to Ayia Napa, you're going to Paralimni, you're going to any of the places on the east, you're kind of going this way. So Konya is really, really handy for getting on the motorway. It's also really handy for getting to shops and everything else. So Alpha Mega is a supermarket that we tend to use. We quite like it there. So that's not too far from us, but obviously it's on the doorstep of Konya. And then this area here, this industrial zone. So this is the area where we've got our mechanic. So our mechanics are in this industrial zone down here. So Konya would be great. And we looked at Konya because we needed to get to up here, International School of Paphos. So we like it. The only thing I would say, a negative that we saw, because we went and ate out there and it was lovely and people seemed friendly. The only thing I would say is if you're anywhere down this end, you are going to get road noise because you're going to be right by the A6 and this is, it's the busy road coming in and out of Paphos. So you are going to get road noise. And that's probably about all there is to say about it. We liked it. There's nothing else. If you come further afield, we tried these areas, Marathunta, if that's how you pronounce it, and then Armu, if I'm pronouncing that correctly. I'm butchered all these words now, but they were really quiet by comparison. So we stopped entertaining those. But Konya's nice. Gyroskopiou, which is how you pronounce this word here with a Y, but Gyroskopiou is nice as well. And I've got some friends that live around this area. It can be a bit tricky getting into Paphos, depending on the traffic as well, because you're kind of in it here. But this road will take you down to the airport as well. So easy access to the airport, easy access to the motorways, easy access to Paphos. What I would say is if you're doing anything north, so we are up this way, we have a lot of things going on in Paya. So my son has a lot of clubs that he goes to up in Paya. We've got business activities happening up this end of the island over Sea Caves Way. So this is where we're doing our developments as well. So actually for us being in the Tala area actually works really nicely for us. But yeah, Konya's nice. Don't have any issues with it whatsoever. Hopefully that's helpful. Anyway, let's go back to me and let's just go back to the questions. Okay. Also, really handy for the golf courses. Yes, it is. For those of you that are into golf, keep making this interactive tonight. For those of you that are into golf, as you can see, there's a lot of golf courses on here, but the big ones that you'll see, I mean, you've got these ones here for sure. You've then got this one here, which is Aphrodite's. You've got Secret Valley Golf Course. You've got Aphrodite's. Now, this one here is the PGA Tour golf course. And that's why property in this area is crazy expensive. The rentals are crazy expensive. You've got the big Aphrodite's hotel resort here. And, we've gone up there, had a coffee in the clubhouse, and you're just looking out into the course, and it's beautiful, but it's a PGA Tour golf course. So it's going to be nice. Lots of things going on in Aphrodite's. But for me, I wouldn't personally want to live there, even though it's very affluent, even though the people that live there have got lots of money. It just feels like you're surrounded by tourists all the time, even though you've got residents there. For me, I just didn't like it. You go down to like the Costa or anywhere like that, the coffee shop. It felt more international because you're appealing to the tourist market, and it's just kind of this commercial center, this commercial hub. And yeah, you could go to Aphrodite's and not need to leave. You wouldn't need to go into Paphos. You've got everything that you need here, but I don't know, it feels a bit commercial to me. That's just my view on it. But yeah, with the rest of the golf courses, you have got these ones here. And then actually, for anybody that's into golf, I'll give you my opinion on something. Mario's Golf here. So they've got a crazy golf. Let me see if I can get it on the satellite image. And there you go, crazy golf. This is their crazy golf, right? So for those of you that have played crazy golf in the UK, you get some fantastic different obstacles with mechanical things that move and everything else. This was basically just like 9 holes with slight curves in them and no real obstacles. It's rubbish. I just think if you wanted to play mini golf, like, it wouldn't take much to beat this. You know, if you wanted to set up a business and put a mini golf course out, this was just appalling. I don't know what it was, but it wasn't the mini golf or the crazy golf that I was expecting. I mean, it was mini. I'll give it that. Maybe that's my misunderstanding. If you are into that type of thing, though, I'll tell you where you can go. Sorry, this is going massively off tangent tonight now. But anyway, if you come up this way towards Coral Bay, we went there recently. And if you go to, where are we? Is it this one? Let me just go to the, is it here? No. There it is, that one. Right, so you come on Coral Bay. So for those of you that know Coral Bay, you've got the main strip. You turn left, you've got the Philippos supermarket there. And then as you come down the main Coral Bay strip, there's a big bar in the corner, but there's this like amusement park here, and you can drive past it. In fact, here we go and drop the little man. And where are we? There we go. You've got this amusement park. You see it lit up. When you go Philippos at night time, you see it lit up. Here, it doesn't look like anything. It looks like it's all dead and closed. It probably was at the time of this because they just refurbished it. So on the refurbishment, this now, is it showing now? It's not really showing now. Yeah, so this is now one big crazy golf. And that is actually really good crazy golf. If you want to take your kids there at any point, they've got, compared to Mario's golf, I mean, this was actually a lot of fun. Mario's golf was not really. I'm being nice. Anyway, enough about golf. Let's go back to the questions. Okay, we haven't got any more questions. So I think if anybody has anything else, I'll stand for a couple more minutes. If not, I'm probably going to get to bed. Just while we're waiting for any more questions to come through, I'm going to flick over to this and just say one last time, if you're finding it interesting, if you're finding it entertaining, you're finding it useful, we think anybody else might benefit from it, then just give it a share with them and see if you can spread the love and help them get a better feel for Cyprus as well. Like I say, when we moved to Cyprus, there wasn't really anybody doing this type of content, so I'm trying to document it now for the rest of us. And look, if there is nothing else to come through, then I think we can end it there and I'll let you all go. And like I say, I'm happy to stay on a few more minutes if anybody's got any questions. We've still got a lot of people online, so if anybody's got any questions, now's your time. Otherwise, I'm out of here. I'm going to go sleep. I'll give you a couple more minutes. Or will I? A couple of minutes of silence. That's going to be painful. I can't sit quiet for 2 minutes. I feel like I need to tell you something. I feel like there's 18 people still at the moment watching me live. And I feel like I need to tell you something informative or at least entertaining while waiting for questions to come through. I haven't got anything else to tell you. Nothing prepared. I've got lots to tell you. There's loads coming in the coming weeks. Nothing to tell you right now. But so if you've got any questions, fire away. Otherwise, I am going to get out of here. Michael Cummings, another great session. Thanks, Mark. You're more than welcome. More than happy to help. Hopefully it is helping. Cool. Well, I'm not seeing anything else come through, but like I say, if there is anything else or people want to reach out to me, then, by all means, get me on Instagram. I did set up an Instagram account now, so people can reach out to me on there, just because you can't really message me on YouTube. So you can feel free to reach out to me on Instagram. Happy to connect. And yeah, thanks for tuning in. For those of you that have live, really appreciate you. Really appreciate your time. And have a great week. And I will definitely catch you in a week's time. Until then, I'll catch you soon. Cheers. Gonna go offline now. This is so laggy. I still see the map over there.